While millions of people are doom-scrolling through their feeds at 7 a.m., bathing their brains in cortisol because a celebrity said something stupid, or a stock dipped 2%, or a politician tweeted a typo, there is a silent minority who has absolutely no idea what is going on. You know these people. You mention the latest viral event of the century at a dinner party, and they look at you with blank, innocent eyes and ask, "Wait, who is that?" Society often labels them as ignorant, out of touch, or living under a rock. We are taught that being a good citizen means staying plugged into the 24-hour news, that if you don't know the headlines, you don't care about the world. But what if I told you that these ignorant people aren't actually behind? What if neuroscience suggests they are actually ahead? Stay with me, because we're about to discover that opting out of the news cycle might be the ultimate act of cognitive rebellion in the 21st century. To understand why some people delete their news apps, we first have to ask, why is everyone else so addicted? The answer lies in a glitch in your brain called the negativity bias. For 200,000 years, paying attention to bad news, like a rustle in the grass, meant survival. Your amygdala is designed to scan for danger. Modern news media knows this. They have weaponized your survival instinct. Every breaking news alert triggers a fight-or-flight response. But unlike our ancestors who ran from a lion and then relaxed, the news cycle never ends. It is a state of chronic, low-grade stress. And just like sports fans get dopamine hits from the uncertainty of a game, news junkies get dopamine hits from the outrage of a headline. It creates a feedback loop. Anxiety? Check news. Relief? Boredom? Check news. Anxiety. It's not information gathering. It's an emotional slot machine. People who don't follow news aren't necessarily uninterested in the world. They just instinctively refuse to let their biology be hacked by algorithms designed to sell ads. Here is the uncomfortable truth. Most news is not knowledge. Psychologists call this the illusion of explanatory depth. You read 10 headlines about a geopolitical conflict, so you feel informed. But can you actually explain the history, or do you just know who to be mad at? Information theorist Nassim Taleb talks about the difference between signal and noise. Daily news is 99% noise. It is anecdotal, random, and fleeting. The news avoiders practice what we might call information fasting. They realize that if something is truly important, like a new law that affects their taxes, or a pandemic, they will hear about it. The signal always finds a way through. By ignoring the noise, their brains are wired differently. They focus on long data trends that happen over years, rather than fast data trends that change every minute. While the news junkie's brain is cluttered with fragments of today's drama, the non-consumer keeps their mental workspace clean. They aren't empty, they are selective. But wait, you say. Isn't it selfish? Don't we have a duty to bear witness to the suffering in the world? This brings us to a concept called compassion fatigue. Humans are socially evolved to care for a tribe of about 150 people, Dunbar's number. When you open Twitter, you are suddenly asked to emotionally process the tragedy of 8 billion people. It burns you out. You spend all your empathy credits on a screen, feeling angry about things you cannot change. People who ignore the news often naturally practice the Stoic dichotomy of control. They divide the world into things I can change and things I cannot. They allocate their energy to their circle of control, their family, their local community, their work, their own health. Their empathy is actionable, not performative. Instead of tweeting about a crisis, they might actually help a neighbour. They trade global anxiety for local responsibility. There is another psychological side effect of watching too much news. Mean world syndrome. News media has a bias towards the extreme, the violent, and the catastrophic. If you watch news for 3 hours a day, your brain statistically overestimates the probability of crime, terrorism, and disaster. Ironically, the people who don't watch the news often have a more accurate view of reality. They see the world through their own eyes, not through a camera lens looking for blood. They tend to be less cynical and more trusting, because in their daily life, the grocery store clerk is nice, the bus driver is polite. Their reality is not a war zone. By disconnecting from the narrative, they reconnect with the now. They are experiencing life directly, not vicariously through the trauma of others. So, look, I'm not saying ignorance is a virtue. We need journalists. We need people who hold power accountable. But if you are someone who feels overwhelmed by the noise, who prefers books to feeds and silence to pundits, you are not broken. You are protecting your most valuable asset, your attention. You have traded FOMO, fear of missing out, for JOMO, joy of missing out. And in a world that is screaming for your attention every single second, the ability to close your eyes and focus on what's right in front of you, that's not ignorance. That is a superpower. Like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments. Are you a news junkie or a ghost? See you next time.